Greetings and salutations, and welcome back, friends. We are back once again, broadcasting live on YouTube, broadcasting live on Twitch, and on Facebook Live and YouTube. Sorry, 3. YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, broadcasting live. Friends, we're going to begin tonight's discussion with a recap and update on our last broadcast, which just so happens to be the most watched episode of Truthseekers ever. And I, for one, am very glad for that, because it's important information that I think people need to hear. So many have reached out to me with questions about our last broadcast. In fact, I got more messages on that show than any other Truthseekers show so far. Rather than try to individually answer you all, which I apologize for, I was really flooded today with messages, for the last several days. And most people are asking the same questions, so I'm going to try to just summarize here. A big question was, did any of these UFO celebrities talk about this? And no, so far, to the best of my knowledge, none of the UFO celebrities mentioned in the story who just did a $120 streaming event. I want to thank one of our viewers who corrected me. It wasn't a $50 streaming event. It was a $120 streaming event that they did with a now known fraudster and convicted felon in the form of Billy Carson. There's been no comment from any of them. Not from Linda Moulton Howe, not from Nick Pope, not from Richard Dolan, not from Jimmy Church, and not from Lou Elizondo. They've just completely ignored the story, and friends, I gotta tell you, it's a very small subculture. Somebody had to send them that show, that story, and in fact, I tagged them in the story on Twitter. But I can hear the excuses now. Well, my social media manager didn't tell me about it. These people are all too important to actually read their own Twitters, run their own Twitters. I don't know, I think some of them do, but some of them for sure don't. And I know for a fact that at least some time ago, Richard Dolan and Linda Moulton Howe share an employee. They both have the same social media manager. Isn't that cozy? But none of them have commented, answered any questions about the story that we raised. Complete and total silence. And sometimes, my friends, silence speaks more than words. And we can leave that question at that. Another question that people kept asking me over and over again is Jimmy Church still running ads on there, and is it going to continue to? I don't know. It's not my show. But there's been no comment publicly so far from Mr. Jimmy Church on why he ran ads for a convicted fraud felon in the first place who's selling questionable products on his website. But Mr. Church also has not commented on why he, after the story aired, is in fact still running this guy's ads on his show. There's been no comment from Jimmy Church on whether he believes any of the snake oil products Mr. Carson is selling is something that his audience should purchase. After all, the guy's advertising on his show, so, I raised the point that I don't think Jimmy Church cares if his audience gets scammed, or he would pull the ads. That's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. There's been no comment from Jimmy Church on whether he actually believes that any of Billy Carson's wackadoo products on his website actually do what Mr. Carson claims. There's been no comment from Jimmy Church about whether he thinks it's a good idea that one of his show advertisers may be running an illegal gambling scam in Florida where you too could win a Rolls Royce. No comment. They've all just ignored the story. And again, I'm going to say it again. Sometimes, friends, silence speaks more than words. The other big question is whether Mr. Carson contacted me or made any public statements or comments about the story. And no, in fact, there has been no word from Mr. Carson on whether or answer to any of the questions that we raised on our last broadcast. But his wife and chief of operations for his company did chime in on YouTube in the comments section. And let me just share my screen here, friends. Just bear with me one moment. I want to I don't want to misquote her, so we're gonna share screen on exactly what Billy Carson's wife said in the comments section of our last broadcast. And I've pinned it. It's at the very top of the video. She says, this is Elizabeth Hoekstra, who I believe, to the best of my knowledge, is Billy Carson's wife and also chief operating officer of his company. In fact, in many of his posts, people are told to contact Elizabeth Hoekstra. She says, you know absolutely nothing, and for you to spend 3 hours speaking on other people you know nothing about, other than what you found on a Google search, shows how ignorant and miserable you truly are. Get a life. So she didn't offer any proof that anything that we reported on our story was factually inaccurate or not true. And we challenged both Billy Carson and her to do that. She didn't offer any proof that anything in our story was not accurate or factually correct. No, she insulted me personally, which I think, again, speaks more than words, I guess, right? I don't think that Ms. Hoekstra has an answer for all of the information that we presented. She doesn't have an excuse for why her husband does these things, right? Or has done these things in the past. So I asked her, what charity are you running the raffle through, Elizabeth, or is it being run illegally? You are welcome to come on our show and tell me what I got wrong. But you won't, will you? Where's the spreadsheets of the records of all the money you and Billy are claiming you are giving to charity that I asked for? Or is no money actually going to charity from these raffles he's been running for years? It's a valid question. Why didn't you guys file the paperwork to show how much you collected for your now revoked charity and what you spent all the money on? How come no one returned my calls when I called with questions, Elizabeth? Yeah. So, friends, there we have it. And, of course, she did not chime back in. But I let people know in the comments that this is the wife and chief of operations for Billy Carson's company. And I remind them, notice she didn't offer any proof I was wrong. So, yeah, I'm going to share my screen one more time just to show you that I'm correct, I believe, and that this is his wife and chief operating officer. Sounds important, right? And I'm sharing this from @Spudwife, who shares a lot of great UFO con artist grifter stuff on her Twitter. You should follow her for sure. Yeah, so here's from one of Billy Carson's posts. Proceeds will be donated to nonprofit organizations serving underprivileged children. These children will receive holiday gifts and school supplies. The money will also be used to pay single-parent final notice electric bills this winter. And just to be clear, I'm sure I've heard him make this pitch before. So we challenged Mr. Billy Carson and his chief operating officer here, Elizabeth Hoekstra, to show us the spreadsheets of the money you gave to charity previously for previous raffles. This one's not done yet, right? Can you show us how much money and where you donated money to charity? Folks, this guy has run several different raffles giving this pitch that proceeds from the raffle will be donated to nonprofit organizations. And just to be clear, you can't run a raffle in the state of Florida unless you have a valid 501c3 charity, and Mr. Carson's, to the best of my knowledge and ability to research, his got revoked. So he doesn't have the legal right or ability to run raffles in the state of Florida, but he's been running them for years. And his charity's charitable status got revoked by the IRS in 2017. So somebody coming along and asking questions about that are valid and important questions. You would think that Ms. Hoekstra would be more concerned with answering valid and important questions than insulting me personally, because she didn't like that we found the court documents that her husband was convicted of, what was it, 3 separate criminal offenses. And she didn't like that we found the proof that he doesn't have the legal right, near as I can tell, to even hold a raffle in the state of Florida, even though he's been doing it for years. So she just decided to insult me personally. She offered no proof that anything that I said was wrong, because I'm fairly certain that we got the story right, friends. we got the story right. Now, I also just want to talk about for a moment, I got a lot of comments in the comment sections about, so what if somebody's a convicted felon, people deserve a second chance, right? So what I'd like to say is I truly believe in second chances, okay? But when we talk about second chances for people who committed a criminal offense, in the case of Billy Carson, he had 3 chances already. First he committed a crime, society gives him a second chance, then he committed a crime again that he got caught for, right? So he gets a 3rd chance, right? Then he commits a crime again, doing a criminal act that he got caught for. So really, it's not a second chance for Billy Carson. Now he wants a 4th chance to not be in prison for the things that he's running around doing. And I would submit to everyone within the sound of my voice that if someone was convicted of 3 criminal convictions, that doesn't mean that they've only committed 3 crimes in their lives. That means they've only been caught 3 times. Friends, people who get, arrested and convicted of criminal activity, it's not their first rodeo. It's not like the first time they go out there and commit a crime, they get arrested and caught and sentenced. And, it's not the way it works. The way it works is that these guys dance around doing their criminal activity, and then sometimes they get caught. Then they dance around doing more criminal activity, and they get caught again. So what we have is Billy Carson, in some states that would be the 3 strikes rule. You're out. You're in prison. So it's not a second chance that Mr. Carson, I suppose, is asking society for. It's a 4th chance. And I'm sorry, call me cynical. I believe in second chances, maybe even 3rd chances. 4th chances? Come on. How many times do you give somebody the benefit of the doubt before you just go, they're a criminal? They are a criminal. Next, on to a note about our show schedule. People keep asking me about this, and I keep avoiding it. And that is, they keep asking me, what's our schedule? The truth is, until September, I don't think that I could stick to one. I've tried, and I'm failing miserably. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the major of them is that I have a 5-year-old and 9-year-old son that are both home until September on summer break. And my oldest son, a lot of you know, is nonverbal autistic, which is a handful by itself. Add to that a 5-year-old who wants to play Nintendo or go outside, or, can I help him with, video games, or can I have a snack every hour where he needs a drink? I mean, it's it's nonstop. Daddy, daddy, daddy. And I'm tired. And that is just the honest to God truth. So I can't keep a schedule. Sometimes, one time I fell asleep at 8 o'clock and I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning because my wife had come home, so she kind of took the second shift, and so I just totally missed the time to do a show. Other times I just feel beaten up and not very energetic. I'm always honest with my audience, so there's the honest truth. Now in September, they're both back to school, and I will have more time than I've ever had because I've always had at least one of them home with me for these past 4 years, 5 years. All the time, but now they'll both be in school. My son has started kindergarten. I mean, it's an all-day program. So, yeah, in September, things are going to change. But until then, I'm just here riding by the seat of my pants. Now, I also just want to address quickly some of the comments in the comment section. Most people, their comments were overwhelmingly positive because they know that I got the story right. Whether you like, sometimes the truth is ugly, and whether you like it or not, we gave you the truth about this story. Those UFO celebrities aren't giving you the truth. They're taking a check from him and working with him. So, there's some people, though, that are fans of those people that are getting nasty with me in the comments or emails. And I just want to say that maybe, just maybe, this isn't the show for you, okay? Like, if you don't want to know that someone that you have been following in the world of UFOs or aliens or conspiracy land, who is telling amazing stories that you really like, has a fake education or a fake military background, or never even worked where they claim to work, then this is not the show for you. If you want to just live with blinders on and, live in a fantasy land, this is not the show for you. I'd also like to say that if you really like some guy's stories about UFOs and aliens who you think is trustworthy, and you don't want to know the truth, the real truth is that that person is a twice convicted child molesting pedophile and we have the court documents to prove it, then this, my friends, this is not the show for you. If you think that it's okay for show hosts to just let guests sell things like literal snake oil that can claim to, destroy HIV or AIDS, destroy the common cold and the flu, hepatitis, herpes, and more, if you think it's okay for a show host to let guests sell or advertise their wares like that on their show, well, then this isn't the show for you. I care about my audience. I would never allow a snake oil salesman to advertise on this show. And you guys can check me on that going forward. You have my word and commitment that I will never knowingly help a snake oil salesman here on our show. Other show hosts can't say that. Other show hosts sign them all up. What are you selling? Orgone? Oh, great. What are you selling? Crystal skulls? Great. What are you selling? Oh, red light healing devices? Sure. What are you selling? Crystal magic wands? Sure. Sign them up. Who cares if any of these products are hokey nonsense that do nothing? If I make a buck, sign them up. Some show hosts are like that. I'm not. If you think that is okay, a show host being that kind of a person, selling that kind of garbage to their audience, then this is not the show for you. So, also, if you don't care when a show host lets his guest promote literal GoFundMe or PayPal total scams so that their audience can become new victims of these fake New Age GoFundMe and PayPal scams, if you think it's okay for another show host to do that, then this isn't the show for you. Go listen to that show. It's fine. I'm okay. We're good here. So, a lot of these comments and messages that I got in the last several days were really just, I like that guy, and how dare you tell the truth? So, really, if you think it's morally acceptable for a show host to trade his audience becoming victims of complete and total provable scams so that he can get more clicks and views, then this show, my show, is not the show for you if you think that stuff is okay. Now, if you think I should just believe anyone telling a story and not ask for evidence or proof of their claims, then again, this is not the show for you. And that, my friends, we will wrap up our recap of our last broadcast. I am doing some additional research and have more evidence to present on that story. And we will perhaps revisit that story and do a part 2. Now, pardon me one moment. 1 second. FGraph72 says, I care about Truthseekers. We all watch what we saw. Subs wearing the same glasses. Yeah. So I'll take some comments and questions from the live chat for a bit. But yeah, Lord Ludicrous Plaid says he also did a 180 on Lou. Some past comments he said he didn't trust Lou. Now they are best friends forever. Yeah, because Jimmy Church probably figured out that he wasn't going to win that popularity contest and that Lou was going to be very popular. So he needed to readjust himself and is even working with him now. Folks will have to bear with me. Still having voice issues, losing my voice, and I have terrible, congestion and postnasal drip. But thanks to everybody that told me they hope I'm feeling better. It's really not it's not like a bad cold. It's just annoying because I've got a stuffed up nose, and so if you see me sipping here, it's hot tea with lemon and honey. Just trying to get my voice through this. Yeah. So the flying saucer continues to turn, and we see this incredible drama take place right before our eyes. And I guess all of these UFO celebrities are just too self-important to actually comment on the story or enter into some conversation about these issues, because I think they're important issues. And every one of these people involved with working with this convicted fraudster felon should at least talk about it, acknowledge it. Did you know that he was a fraudster felon? It's one of the worst kept secrets in conspiracy land. Most people knew, and did nothing, and said nothing, right? They're too self-important or self-absorbed, friends. They just don't care. They don't care if people get scammed, apparently. So I think that says a lot about them. I value every one of the audience members, even the ones here who disagree with me. We can have real conversations here. Somebody commenting that Simon Parks is real. I'm convinced of it. I don't think so. Hollis Herbo, don't let the simps get to you. No, I'm just trying to, Hollis, I'm good. I'm just trying to address a lot of the comments and questions instead of addressing people individually. Like, hey, I can respond to 10 messages and comments with, a few sentences here, and it's off my to-do list. So, yeah, somebody's mentioning Project Camel Toe. Yes. Freebird mentioning, in regards to Carson, I predict Dolan will say he doesn't endorse what Billy does, but is using his platform to talk about his info, which in my opinion is a cop-out. Of course it is. Alice Hurlbutt, it is Billy Carson. See our last show, which I guess you missed. Our last show. Oh, and look at that. Kind and generous $4.99 super chat. Lord Ludicrous Plaid says, facts can hurt sometimes, and I thank you for breaking my heart with the truth. I am dying to know about Gary Webb. Keep up the great work. Lord Ludicrous Plaid, even before your kind and generous $5 super chat, which helps keep our show going, I heard you, and it's on my list. It's not at the top of my list of stories, but I've wanted to look into Gary Webb for some time now. And so we're going to do a deep dive just for everybody here at Truthseekers, especially you who asked. We're going to do a deep dive on Gary Webb and that entire story. It's a fantastic story. But, Lord Ludicrous Plaid, I want to thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It really helps move the show forward. It helps us to continue the ball rolling here, right, friends? And it helps us to praise the cash.
Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the
cash! And just a note of thanks to my son Xavier. Everybody, he wanted to learn how to earn money. So I put him to work, and I do not apologize for it. He's already asking for more work because he wants to buy some new toys, so we've got to have him do something else. FGraf72 says, praise the cash. Yeah, we praise the cash here. Justin Time is here. Shout out to Justin Time, who says, Dank Alliance, try and catch me rolling dirty. Yeah. So, I want to move on to tonight's topic. We're about a half hour in, and that's more of a recap than I thought we would need. And I just want to remind everybody, anybody sending a super chat, we read every super chat. You can hit that money button and support the show, or support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or a PayPal donation. It's in the About section of our channel or the description of this video. We read and recognize every single person helping the show. and we play the Praise the Cash Clown to thank everyone. I can't thank you guys enough for your kindness, your generosity, and support. So on to the topic of tonight's show, really is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time now. And that is conspiracy land and internet burnout. And whether or not there's a cure for that. Because I don't know about any of you, but I have been, especially after the pandemic started, I had a terrible time because I felt trapped in my home and there's not much else to do. So I started going down crazy internet rabbit holes. And truth be told, I do suffer from some anxiety. I've never been medically treated for it, but I'm sure that I have some sort of anxiety problems. And what I noticed is, one of the things that I've noticed is that my connection to the interwebs and this non-stop static and noise always coming at me in the form of, phone messages and notices, and your phone's buzzing, and stories that I would obsess over and keep following to the end. But some stories there just is no end to, and you just keep finding more and more and more. I realized one day that I know more about some conspiracy land, let's just say characters' personal lives than anybody should know, right? I don't need to know about these guys' weird sex stuff, I don't need to know those things, but I do. Yeah, so this conspiracy land burnout is part of it for me. It is the never-ending rabbit holes that it's my fault. I choose to sit there sometimes for 12 hours going through some story, right? What did this guy say about it? Oh, here's a new witness with the story. Oh, that first witness, we found out they were fake and they made it up, right? This never-ending, treadmill. You're just walking this treadmill, or like a rat in a cage, right? The hamster wheel. You're just running down the wheel, but you never truly actually get anywhere. Doesn't stop me from trying. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. So instead of doing 12 hours down a rabbit hole, I will attempt to do 3 8-hour stints. Doesn't help. No. See, for some of these things, it seems like continued exposure just makes it worse. And then my anxiety level rises, right? Concerning the pandemic, there was all kinds of things, and there still is going around in conspiracy land. And one can literally drive themselves crazy trying to get to the so-called truth. Lab leak theory, right? We can research and debate whether some government officials related to the health crisis are being honest with us, or whether they may indeed have funded the cause of all of our anguish. And along with that, certainly comes some anger. See, now, more than ever before, we are all connected. One giant hive mind, always churning, always burning, always thinking, always adding to itself. And we are all dialed in and connected to that hive mind. And sometimes, whether we like it or not, we have to be. For work, my boss needs to email me. I gotta keep my phone on. For school, the professor's supposed to send something about this week's lesson plan and about the requirements for the course I'm taking. I got to keep my phone on. I got to be connected to. I got to check my email. Fear. How many stories on the internet work on our fears? What is it that we fear? Is apocalypse near? Can we find the signs that it is? Hidden in plain sight there within that hive mind? Sometimes I think we can. And that just causes more fear, more anxiety, more useless worrying. And so I have been suffering with these questions and these issues since before the health crisis, really. But the health crisis just doubled down my problems with all of this. And my belief that it's a terrible quote from the movie War Games. I have been thinking that the only way to win the game is not to play. I began researching the best ways to disconnect yourself from these things. Now, a lot of you know that I built a cabin out in the woods in the middle of the Pocono Mountains just for this purpose. And I gotta tell you that the peace and the quiet that I experienced there without internet or cell service, it's that remote. Let me correct myself. When I first bought the cabin, the nearest cell phone tower was so far away, 0 bars. The phone just complete dead zone. And I loved it. I loved it. I was still living in Philadelphia at the time. Packed in like a sardine, right? Like everyone else in the city. Very little personal space. Everywhere you go, there's people all around you. Your neighbors are cramped up right alongside of you. You share walls with people. It's great. I share walls with these two people. Hope they're, peaceful, quiet people. Oh, but they never are, right? And you get to hear, Julio next door arguing with Juanita until 3 a.m. or blasting, music that you would prefer to never listen to, but you're forced to 12 hours a day. All these city stresses as well. So I would work all week, and then I would hop in my car on Friday and head to this cabin that I was going to build in the woods. And as soon as I got there, I had this tremendous feeling of decompression. All the static, all the noise that I had constantly playing in my brain just shut up and shut off for a little while. And I could focus on something. I could concentrate on and actually finish tasks without interruption or without a constant nagging minder in my pocket, beeping and blobbing and vibrating, brimming with notifications, most of which were of little importance to me that day while I was trying to accomplish something. The cabin for me became a decompression chamber. Really, it became a disconnection chamber. I could disconnect from everything there and feel, finally, some peace. Now, I'm sure that my story and experience are not unique. In fact, I know a once well-known computer scientist, published many papers on computer science, very well loved and respected in that field, who one day shut off the computers in his home, got in his car, and left and never went back. And he did something similar to me. Found some, barren, wasted land somewhere that nobody wanted and built a place for himself. Completely free from everything. So, for me, the cabin was this disconnection chamber, right? A decompression and disconnection chamber. A place that I could go and do that. Now, unfortunately, things changed at the cabin. Because as my wife and children began spending more time there, the children especially, they had to have the internet. Couldn't live without it, right? What? Dad, no YouTube? This cabin sucks. What? Dad? There's no Wi-Fi here? I don't come here no more. Why would I want to come here, Dad? There's no Wi-Fi. So I caved on the Wi-Fi and the internet. And then, so that noise and that distractions and all of these things began to encroach again on my sanity. And just, I would tell myself, it's fine. When the children are here, I'll turn the router on. When they're not here, I'll unplug it. But it doesn't work. And then what happened is they put a cell phone tower just a few miles from my cabin in the middle of the woods. Yes, a cell phone, a huge cell phone tower in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere. And now there's great cell phone service. So even if I shut off the router, there's still the phone beeping, blobbing, and buzzing at me constantly. Now, I agree that there are some things that you could do, like turn off all notifications off of your phone, and I've done that. But, you still get text messages. You still get PMs and DMs on Twitter, right? And I still feel this need that if somebody's sending me a message, I should look at it. And I should reply. And maybe, I don't know, maybe this is something important. It rarely is. And in fact, this past weekend, and I did not do this on purpose, but it's one of the causes of tonight's show. It takes hours to load these children up in the car and go to this cabin. You need like 18 bags of snacks and drinks and, all kinds of things and sippy cups and, I don't know. But it takes a long time to get them for my wife and, we get ready and load the car. And I pulled out and I got, I don't know, a few miles away from the house and realized that I'd left my phone at home. But my wife was with me in the car and she had a phone, and so I said, I don't need it. I don't need it. There's nothing important enough to interrupt my family time, right? I'm going to the cabin for the specific purpose, We're going to this pool. Community pool near the cabin. We're going to some lakes, going swimming, going fishing. I don't need a phone, and I further really don't need to be bothered, and don't take this the wrong way, by things like this show. I just don't, right? There's no reply to a video, there's no message about, a show or somebody wants to be a guest. There's nothing that important from this show that couldn't wait a few days until I got back on Sunday night and checked my phone. So, and I gotta tell you, I sincerely enjoyed the quiet and the peace. Ordered Ludicrous Plaid with another kind and generous $1.99 donation asking Gary McKinnon, what are your thoughts on him? I haven't ever found a reason to find him not credible. I think he tells a compelling story, but I do have a problem with one thing, and that is, I grew up in sort of the computer world, Ludicrous Plaid, and I don't want to say I was a hacker, but I ran a BBS before the internet. I was on the internet when it was just text through, Usenet and all these things. So I was very familiar with some of the things that he described, but the problem that I have is anybody that I know that was, sort of hacker guy who got into a system like that would get copies of files. He has nothing but the story. A very compelling story, very believable story, but still the story itself. No backup, no evidence. But he did, try to crucify him, and that leads me to believe that he sure got into something, Lord Ludicrous Plaid, and I hope that helps. Okay, we're going to praise the cash, friends.
You're watching Truthseekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah. Praise the cash, friends. Reamsey with a kind and generous $5 super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, your support, and I just want to mention, Reamsey, I am looking through the live chat, making sure that I did not miss a super chat. We always like to check. We read, recognize, and thank every single person. All right, I've gone as far back as I could go, so let me just check while we're thanking Reamsey for the kindness, the generosity, and the continued support of the show. I just want to check and make sure that we did not miss any of the super chats. We read every single super chat. Nope, we got them all. We got them all. Great. So I want to thank Reamsey for the kindness, the generosity, and the support, and for helping us to praise the cash, friends. Praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Praise the cash, 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 praise the cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
So thank you very much, Reamsey, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, and continued support. Reamsey's always throwing a couple of bucks into the hat, which I can't thank you enough for. And it just impresses me that people hear my show, or listen to my show, or watch my show once, Reamsey, and they come back for another helping of this. So it makes me think, maybe, just maybe, I'm doing something right. BS Alert Buddy mentioning, speaking of high, he's paranoid again over the hammer and sickle. Yeah, Cliff High's making a lot of bold predictions, and according to him, half the people on Earth should be dead by next year, right? Half the people should be dead by next year. Okay, Cliff High, if you say so. So, we're talking about this internet burnout. First of all, conspiracy land burnout, and secondly, just being burnt out for being so connected to the internet. And I mentioned that I left my phone at home for a whole weekend. But sometimes you just can't do that. You know, let me see. I have some notes here. Yeah, so if you're tired of the constant notifications, bells, pings, vibrating phone in your pocket, unwanted phone calls, and constant noise interrupting your peace and quiet, and time that you may need to concentrate on real things, then you may need a disconnection chamber. If you have concerns about privacy when you're coming and going, or being tracked, right, you may need a disconnection chamber. You know, does your boss text, message, email, call, or otherwise annoy you when you're at home with your family and you just need to rest after a hard day's work? You may need a disconnection chamber too. Have you gone down too many rabbit holes following strange and mysterious stories on the internet and you're suffering from insomnia? If that's the case, you may need a disconnection chamber. Did you follow internet stories, personalities, or rabbit holes far too far and found out more than you really needed to know? Are you stuck on that treadmill, right? On that hamster wheel? Find a disconnection chamber. Now, the best disconnection chamber I could find is turning the Wi-Fi off in your house and turning your phone off. Works great. But like I said, sometimes you still need to get messages and be connected, right? So, have I found a cure for this condition? I absolutely, positively believe that I have. Yes, I believe that I have. Now, there are people that are selling these weird, stupid stickers you're supposed to put on a phone, and it blocks 5G. None of that stuff works, right? None of it does anything. They're $20 to $150 stickers that do nothing. But I found an incredible product through a friend that actually does what it says it's going to do, and that is this. This thing I love. This is the new key to my sanity, and this is a lifesaver, because sometimes you've got to have your phone with you because you may need your phone. What if you're traveling and you need your phone because your car broke down, right? So to leave the phone at home works, but is dangerous if you're by yourself. I got to have a phone. But what's great is that I found an artificial disconnection chamber. Works 100%. And it's very simple. There's 2 pockets. Just a cell phone. Just a cell phone tote with 2 pockets. So we have one pocket that is shielded. And we have a separate pocket here that is not shielded. I'm sorry, this is the shielded side, and this is the unshielded side. So you place your annoying cell phone in this device and close it. And if you want to be connected and you want to be bothered, you put it in the unshielded side. But if you don't want to be bugged at all, you put it in the shielded side. And friends, I know there's a lot of stuff going out there on the internet with these stickers, 5G and nonsense. This works. Now, I gotta caution you that there's many different kinds of these, and some of them don't work at all. Some of them don't work at all. They don't do what they're supposed to do. Some of them barely work, or don't work well, or they work, but if you're too close to a cell phone tower, signals will still get back and forth through the phone between this. But this one, I tried 10 different kinds, right? This one always blocks everything. Every signal going in or out of this device is blocked. What does that mean? That means you get no text messages, you get nothing. You are in a total blackout zone when you jam your phone in here. And I have found this device to be so beneficial that I want to share some with my friends here. And in fact, what I'm going to do is that anybody that gave a super chat this month, speaking of raffles, we're going to raffle one off. And I'm going to send it to you with my 10 pages of notes on the disconnection chamber and how to disconnect from the internet and feel better, more productive, more focused. And I truly believe you'll live a more meaningful life having that ability to just shut that internet world down, off. And by the way, I know some people tend to be sort of the paranoid type, and if you are, nobody's tracking you through your cell phone if it's in the shielded pocket. Nothing gets in and out. And so, my best advice is just disconnect. Leave your phone at home. But, like in my case, I have to travel to the cabin sometimes by myself in a car. I need a cell phone in case the car breaks down to call AAA or tow truck or, call for help. So I can't not have the phone, but this gives me the option, really. It's great. And like I said, I have to caution anybody that there's some of these that don't work, or they work terribly. or barely work, I would say. Varying degrees of does it do what the person that sold it to you says it will do. I'm here to tell you that these do absolutely what I'm going to tell you that they do. I have a write-up about that, which I will get out to everyone, because I think this is an important tool for a modern world, and something that I believe has truly benefited my life. And on that subject, so it's important, if we do hawk anything here, that it's something that actually works, that it's something that I believe is a great product, right? And we're also going to offer like a 7-day money-back guarantee. So in other words, if you were to purchase one of those things, you could try it for a week. If you don't like it, or just send it back to me, get a full refund. And there's some other things that I would like to do in as far as disconnecting, like a support system for disconnecting from the internet. And we may talk about that more going forward. So now I'm going to devote my full and total attention to the live chat. Any questions, comments for me? Oh, by the way, I have I've got a huge supply of these, and we're not selling them yet. But I wanted to talk about these. We're not selling them yet, but we will be in very short order. And I got a big supply of them, and I also have. Like I said, we'll do this raffle so that maybe anybody giving a super chat is going to be entered to the raffle. And at the I don't know, end of the month, I will raffle one of these off and send it to whoever gets pulled from the hat. Now we're not going to be too complicated with that. You're going to have to trust me, but yeah, we'll put everybody's name who gave a super chat all this month long into a hat. And we're going to pull one, whoever that is. I'll contact you, and we'll send you a free device so you can check it out, and maybe you can, help me to tell other people whether you think it's useful or improves the quality of your life. Because I truly believe it did for me. I think sometimes we all need a disconnection chamber. That's what you do. You just jam the phone here into this disconnection chamber, and you're good to go. By the way, that reminds me, we had a great musical guest tonight. We have a great musical guest in the form of The Dreaming, and their song, which I think is great for tonight. It's a song called Disconnected. And for those who don't know or never heard of the band The Dreaming, it is the singer and frontman behind the band Stabbing Westward. It's the group that he formed after Stabbing Westward broke up. They're still making music together, even though Stabbing Westward are also now making music together. His name is Christopher Hall, the singer from Stabbing Westward and The Dreaming. Boy, loved that guy's songs growing up, and I'm glad he's still making music. So we're going to take a very, very short break here, mostly so I could blow my nose. And we'll hear from our musical guests, The Dreaming, sung by Christopher Hall, with their song, Disconnected. We'll be right back.
Every word pushes farther away. think it's time we cut these cords asunder. I think it's time we let the story hear. Touch me now. Disconnected. 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 Disconnected.
And we are back, friends. Welcome back. So I'm going to take some comments, questions from the live chat, and then we're bouncing out of here. We're going to call this a quick one. I don't think that, doing a 2 or 3 hour stream every night is really a wise investment of time sometimes. And in fact, we're looking for somebody to be a clip person. People like clips, right? You want the 5-minute hot take? I've got a lot of 5-minute great hot takes in some of these 2 or 3 hour streams. I don't have time to get to them all. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to like 1 or 2 a week. I'm going to make 1 or 2 a week for the next several weeks. We'll see how it goes. I also wanted to mention I have some other things that I have to do tonight. That's another reason why I'm going to try to cut things short. So on my list of things to do today was to finish some of the latex prosthetic, masks and appliance for the characters. And I'm happy to say that we've got not 1, but 2 now. 2 new characters coming to Truthseekers, and that would be Linda Moulton Howdy Doody is the first. And we have a new one, Jimmy Needs Church. And they're both more or less done. See, here's the problem. I'm very good at getting things 80% done. So what happened is I started working on Linda Moulton Howdy Doody, and I didn't like the first one, and then I had to redo it, and anyway, I got an 80 or 90% there. I'm still looking for a woman's beret. This is the fun part, right? Like, I got to find a woman's beret, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on one, so, I don't know. I thought I could go to a thrift store and just find one, but, I haven't yet. That's on my... So, maybe we'll just go without the beret. I don't know. But I think you need the beret to do a good Linda Moulton Howe, right? And some gaudy costume jewelry, right? Matt R. says, Jiffy Church. That's another possibility. I thought Jimmy Needs Church, right? Maybe we should do Jiffy Church. We'll put up a Twitter poll and let people name the new character. The Sixth Sense says, Stephen, what's the next big conspiracy? I think that it's going to be a war. We're going to see a war. We're definitely going to see a new war before the Biden administration has done its first term. And I don't know if that's a conspiracy or what you're looking for in an answer, but if you're telling me what I see is on the horizon, I think we're going to see a war, and there's going to be an incredible amount of conspiracies surrounding this next military action which takes place, insofar as why do we need to be in some foreign country, right? And the justification for sending our poor children, because it's always the poor that have to fight the wars. It's the rich people, at the top of the food chain sending the poor people, the lower class, the lower middle class, to fight these wars that they decide are a good idea. They don't send their own children. And that, my friends, is how you can tell that most wars that the United States have been involved in the last 50 or 80 years, since I think World War II was the last truly just war that we were involved in. And that's my take on what may be coming down the pipeline. We've seen everything else in this past year and a half. Crazy things we thought we'd never see. Justin Time says, who's going to war? I think the United States will be going to war with somebody, a foreign power, before the Biden administration is finished their first term. Jimmy Church's chicken. That's a good one too, all around Arbiter. So I mentioned, I had some things on my to-do list, and I'm proud of myself. Oh, sorry, I rambled here. So I got to Linda Moulton Howdy Doody almost done, and then I got stuck on the beret, right? And the cheap costume jewelry that I need, right? So then I got kind of impatient, and I started the Jimmy Needs Church character. And they're both great. I'm very happy with them. And on my to-do list today, I'm doing a screen test of both of them. I've said this before, and I didn't quite get to do it because just time and let me work on it a little more. So tonight, I'm definitely, as soon as I finish this show's broadcast, I'm posting 2 new videos on our Patreon. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You get the backstage pass. And basically, you just get a preview. So I'm going to do a screen test in the character get-ups for both Linda Moulton Howdy Doody and for Jimmy Needs Church tonight and post them on Patreon. Also a note, I'm going to be posting on Patreon tonight 45 episodes of the Midnight Hour show. That is the show that I produced and hosted previous to Truthseekers. And many of you are familiar with it. Maybe you've heard them all, but a lot of people are new to me here. And I want to include that as a Patreon benefit. You can listen to those ad-free because they're going to be going on our audio podcast feed with a lot of ads. And I know some people may consider it worth $1 just so that you can skip all that. But it's a Patreon benefit. It's part of my history as a show host, and I want to make sure that we preserve that. And I've got this Midnight Hour show backed up. I'm happy about that because for years I've been going, boy, it's just on the internet. I don't have backups, and it could all disappear tomorrow, and I could lose it all. So I got at least the Midnight Hour show backed up. We started on the Truthseekers backup. I think I'm up to 30 of 150 videos that I need to download. And we're also going to be doing the same thing with that. What do I mean? I mean, if you're a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month, it's $1 or more, whatever you want to give, but the cost of entry is really as low as $1. You get the Midnight Hour archive with no commercials. You're going to get the Truthseekers archive. If some people haven't noticed, there's commercials on some of these YouTube videos of our previous shows now. Not a lot of them because YouTube has decided that most, I don't know, I'd say 50%. I could show you in our monetization, in the content. As a YouTube creator, you go into the content, ads, none are limited, none are limited, none are limited, none are limited. And I can't figure it out. I'm sure that some of it, and they just say this is not advertiser friendly or whatever. I don't know how that works. Sometimes I think it's keywords in the titles because I've changed some of the titles and then suddenly it was okay to monetize and have ads on it. My point is that for people that join us for the live shows, but then they say, hey, this show's pretty good. Is there any other episodes I can watch? There's 100 videos here on our channel. But some of them may have those YouTube ads that are annoying that you have to skip or whatever. So we're backing up the entire Truthseekers 100+ episode collection and putting it on Patreon ad-free. On the cloud, you can listen from anywhere, any phone, any internet device. And again, that's just one of the Patreon benefits. And as far as Patreon benefits, we just do an audio, or I'm sorry, we used to do an audio. Now we do it like a video show diary every month of what's going on behind the scenes. You get a backstage pass. Sometimes I post pictures of what we're working on, like these weird characters. And tonight I'm posting 2 videos for the Patreon folks. And generally, sometimes we post those things later onto the channel. I also want to announce that I'm going to be doing a Patreon-only stream. For a while, I was trying to figure it out, like, how do you do that just for Patreon supporters? And I have figured it out. So now we have the capability of doing a stream just for the Patreon supporters. I want to mention, too, that the Patreon's only $1 a month, but I know that a lot of people are struggling. So all you have to do, if you're having a tough time right now and you don't have $1, I don't enjoy putting these things behind a paywall. And in fact, I feel terrible that somebody might really like what we do here and just be struggling and not have $1. And I have to stand there like an army sergeant going, you can't go in our tent. Get out of here unless you got $1. The ticket costs $1 every month. If you don't got $1, get out of here. I don't like doing that. With the Patreon really does help the show when we need equipment, pay for software, whatever it is that we need. So it's a necessary evil that I have to contend with. But as I said, I don't want any single person who's having a tough time to not be able to get in there and see those things as well. So if you're having a tough time, really just email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. We have a list of a bunch of people that emailed me, and don't be specific. Just say, having a tough time, we'd like the Patreon links. I'll send them all to you. I don't want anybody to not be able to get into that show tent, right? Is everybody in? The show's about to begin. Yeah, so you don't get turned away for lack of $1. But if you do have $1, hey, great, support us. The other great thing that you can do, of course, and everybody says this, is to please do make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. It really does help us. People say this for a reason. Smash that like button. Smash the dislike button for all I care. It's engagement, and YouTube doesn't care whether you like it or dislike it. They just care about the engagement. So, you want to tell me that I'm terrible? Great. That's good. Hit that dislike button. Thumbs down all the way, right? If you want to hit the like button, that helps us. Click subscribe. You'll know about upcoming shows every time we do a live show. Click the notification bell to be sure that you are informed. Speaking of getting too many notifications, but mine's a good notification. You want to know, right? You want to know when I'm doing a show, so maybe allow that notification to be pinging your phone, right? And finally, hey, sharing this stuff on social media helps increase our reach, our engagement rises, our audience rises. We're rising steadily, growing steadily as a show. I'm so pleased and delighted about that, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I see the retweets. I see people posting on Facebook, and you have my gratitude. It really, really does help move the show forward and propel us to incredible new heights. I really was determined to make this thing work, but I got to tell you, I didn't think. I'm still kind of shocked, like, that everything worked out, right? I mean, I'm a big believer in this, though. I came here every chance I could, and I watered the garden. And if you keep doing that, just consistent little effort every day to keep that garden going, eventually the garden will grow. And friends, we are approaching a good time for our show, because having worked for virtually free for a year, suddenly we got YouTube monetization. We have people on Patreon that are supporting us. You can make a PayPal donation and throw us a few bucks, and that certainly helps. So we're in a good place, because equipment-wise, we have most everything we need, but the money buys me some freedom and free time, and it gives me time to work on things, and maybe I can buy some supplies and equipment for the different things that we'd like to do here on the show. Okay, so All Around Arbiter says, Linda Moulton House shops at the same stores Mr. Roper shops at. I believe that you are correct. Matt R. is talking about EMP attacks. Ironically, a small attack is easier to pull off than some giant Hollywood mothership or armada. Too much forewarning. Maybe. All Around Arbiter says Raspberry Beret. Also says, you are as talented as Eddie Murphy when he plays multiple characters in a movie and just as funny. Thank you. I'm working real hard at that. And I got to tell you that someday we're going to get all of our characters, All Around Arbiter, together on one panel. But of course that has to be pre-recorded, because I can't play 12 characters at once and not pre-recorded. I figured out how to do it, but it's like, how many do I want to do in one panel, right? But you know how people All Around Arbiter have their UFO conferences that they charge money for? I'm going to do a free comedic one, and I'm going to play all the characters, every one of them. The host of the UFO conference, the online UFO conference, the different speakers, the panel members. I'm gonna do it. Welcome to the show is here and says the garden is well nurtured. Yeah, I'm here every day. Weeding those weeds. Welcome to the show, and watering those plants and loving them, and willing that garden to grow. That's important. Force of will is everything. Right? Every day I come here and I put some force of will into my efforts here, and I funnel that force of will and try to manifest that which I think we need here with the show, right? Yeah, and we just keep trucking along, moving forward. Slow and steady does win the race sometimes. So, friends, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I also want to remind you, be sure to follow me. People are saying, hey, why don't you have a show schedule, bro, so I know and I can plan. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. And also remember, I'm not just juggling these children and this show. I also have other things that I have to do to earn money, which, I don't even want to, some things I'm going to keep private. But, I do other things to earn money at times, and that requires time and energy and dedication. So I'm juggling a lot of stuff, and I'm trying my best. And because of the children and these other responsibilities that I have, I can't really stick to a schedule, but I'm going to try. It's always going to be probably 9 p.m. somewhere, Sunday through Sunday. I don't know. But follow me at Stephen Cambion on Twitter, and you too will know when I'm going to do a show. I'm trying to get better at going, okay, I'll commit to a show tomorrow at 9 p.m. Let's announce it right now, the day before, instead of an hour before the show. But even just knowing an hour before the show is helpful, so follow me at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. Also, there's people are listening in audio podcast land, and if you are, welcome. You are most welcome here. We're glad to have you be a part of this thing here that we do. But you're missing half the fun. So please, if you're listening in audio podcast land and you have not already, go over to YouTube. Put Truthseekers in the search bar. Look for that strange guy with the sunglasses. That's me. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And then come here and be a part of our live chat. That really is half of the fun, right? That's half of the fun. Jeanette Korzenko is here and says, I did enjoy the Midnight Hour. And I enjoyed making it. I really did. It was a childhood dream. I wanted to do a radio show and be like part Art Bell, part Robert Stack from Unsolved Mysteries, right? Part Howard Stern, honestly. And I got to, live a dream. And that was awesome. But, I was, Jeanette Korzenko, I was 5 or maybe 8 years late getting into that audio podcast game, right? And then things moved along and video is big, so now we're in video format, but we have returned to audio podcast land, and I gotta say, I'm certainly having a much easier time producing a lot of content because we're doing the show live now. It used to be the Midnight Hour show was all pre-recorded, and I would obsess over every little sound that you heard, and things going on, and background music, and background effects, and, bumpers, and here, it's much more laid back and easier, Click go live, record it. You get sometimes things happen, mistakes, but they're little, and they don't mean much in the long span of the universe, so I let them go out into the universe. You get the show warts and all now, but I'm able to produce a lot more content this way. So, friends, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I gotta say, I'm always happy when there's an audience, friends. And thank you so much for coming here today, spending some quality time with me. There's no better place that I would like to be than hanging out with you guys. It's one of my happy places, honestly. I have loved every minute of this journey here to make the show work. And spend some time with you. So, thanks for spending time with me. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.